keep telling y'all that this whole thing is political theater. It's a stage. And you can look right at it and see that it's phony. See that it's a script. See that it's fake. So today we're talking about Erika Kirk. And she showed up she showed up to respond to the correspondence dinner and to Candace Owens and so many of her detractors looking real crazy, right? And you can just see that it's so fake, it's so scripted. And, she's the woe is me, the victim. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that's going on where she's being called out by W America. A lot of the W's, even in the conservative circles, are looking at her funny and calling her out. And there's a lot of things that's going on behind the scenes. But she came out looking like, dressed like Janet Jackson and Rhythm Nation and also Eminem on his recovery tour. Check it out.
It seems to me that nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher, that attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets.
So her husband just was unalive, right? And her sole purpose of going to this dinner was to confront people that's been talking about her, right? Now, mind you, she didn't came out dancing. Soon they didn't have the dirt on the casket yet. She come out talking about she taking over Turning Point USA. She was doing so many things where a lot of women was like, your husband just was unalived on TV for the whole world to see. What are you doing? Out there hugging with J.D. Vance. He got his hand in places that shouldn't be. It was just really, everything was just too public, too fast, right? Candace Owens was coming at you. So now she's making this whole situation about her. She's talking about, she wanted to go to this correspondence dinner just to see the people that's been coming at her. And this woman, she just, in my spirit, I look at her. Now, mind you, this is a fight in the radical right, right? The radical right is the ship is leaking oil, it's unraveling. They're having all kinds of skirmishes inside this party, right? And she's pro-Trump, and that side, Candace Owens and Tucker and them, they done turned on Trump, and it's just turmoil in that party.
And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me, and I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly. Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself, and she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself." And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up, and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?" And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room You had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot. Many of those people have become so desensitized that fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the number one rule of journalism. And again, ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher. You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night. And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, "I am a citizen of the United States of America." And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed. This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life.
No, what got your husband was this insatiable lust to take part in the devil's bowl, the devil's pool, right? You guys want to be on that stage, you want to be in the lights, you want to play that game. And that's what happened. He said all kinds of disparaging things about black people and other minority groups. He took part in all the things that the president is aligned with now, was saying a whole bunch of disparaging and nasty things about each other, right? There's a war going on the radical right and the radical left. Behind the scenes, bodies are dropping. We've reported on all this. You know this. You stood by and watched your husband carry on the way that he was carrying on. And when he died, you just act like nothing happened and just kept the ball rolling, right? So now you're criticizing those people in there for being fake and phony, but you are a part of it. You are a part of it. You're just on one side because J.D. Vance and the president and all that, they're all part of this political theater as well. And you're on their side. You're up here now on your platform speaking, right? All of y'all are complicit in this, the whole thing. So now you're saying it was a teacher. It was a teacher. They're supposed to be teaching our children. But you got accusations already being leveled against you from a young girl, right? There's a whole lot of weird and wild stuff that goes on behind the scenes with you people. Very wicked. But she wasn't done.
And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in Americans' entire history. And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful. We are all human beings. And if you can just pause and just take a minute and ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one? That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow. The glow of an expected widow. Just 48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. And this culture we're living in absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
So she made comments about Drewski. She made comments about Jimmy Kimmel because they're coming after free speech now. The same way that they accused the Democrats of coming after free speech, where we know that the Dems went after free speech. They was forcing you to call people in the Skittles community a certain thing. They was forcing you. The Democrats was wild with coming after free speech at that time, right? Now the same thing they complained about, they're doing, because Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian on his stage. He ain't bothering nobody. But then she came after Candace Owens too, who I'm not a fan of and don't like. But we content creators and we reporting what's going on in the news. So she came after Candace Owens, and she's accusing Candace Owens of saying that she was responsible for having her husband unalived, right? So Candace heard this, and a lot of people was voicing their opinions on her appearance in this response video. So Candace played a lot of the things that the people were saying, and then she also responded.
But overall, before we even get to that, the response has just been brutal, okay? Everyone is calling her out. They're saying that the look is wrong. People are making fun of saying that she looks like she came dressed up as the assassin that was walking up the stairs, allegedly. But also just her general demeanor. Okay, here are just some of the reactions. We can go through them. I guess I missed it. When did Candace Owens mention anywhere in the podcast that you murdered your husband? You didn't miss it. I trust gas station sushi more than I trust Erika Kirk. This user writes, I was hoping you were going to address all the questions being asked of you. This lecture was pointless. We're just getting lectured every day. We're so tired of being lectured. This person writes, Candace Owens never once made the explicit claim that you husband. All she has accused you of is being a liar and a fraud. By the way, when that is my repeat accusation, which I've proven that you lie, it's best not to lie in the monologue that you're going to come after me, right? Like that, come on, lights on, guys. This person says, so she's not resigning. She's ruining Turning Point USA. She should just go home and stay at her mom and stay as a mom to those poor kids that have no parents at this point. Here is another tweet. This person wrote, if Erika truly is just a grieving widow and not actually a bad person, which is now becoming harder and harder to believe, then somebody around her who cares needs to tell her the following. 1, her disposition is totally unlikable. 2, her delivery is completely untrustworthy. And 3, every time she opens her mouth, she digs herself a bigger hole. I would rather not tell a widow how to grieve, but I would advise a wannabe astroturfed CEO to go home and spend some more time with her kids that she claims to love so much. Here's another couple of funny tweets. Did Erika tell her stylist to, quote, give me the assassin outfit today? Another one, Erika Kirk trying to prove to us that she did not try to kill her husband. These are obvious jokes, guys. I know they're now criminalizing jokes, but these are jokes, okay? Erika Kirk out here dressing like Eminem when he got sober. I did not see that one before. That's very funny. This person, why is Erika Kirk wearing something that looks eerily similar to an Imperial officer's uniform from Star Wars? It fits the theme music when they walk out. So yeah, across the board, people are laughing. They're mocking it. They're saying it was, you're lying. And also it's just weird. It was weird and it was awkward.
So the public and the media is completely destroying her. Right? Nobody's believing her. She's not believable because the people are starting to wake up, man. With the last 2 administrations, with the Biden administration, the country was messed up. Things was going crazy. And then under Trump right now, the country's messed up and the people are starving. The people are upset, right? Gas prices are too high. Like, everything is just going awry, just going crazy. And the people are starting to wake up and no longer believe all this stuff. So you having people on the radical left being called out, people on the radical right being called out, and similarly, a lot of people just not going for the bull crap no more, right? People are abandoning MAGA. You have, like I said, complete turmoil on the radical right side. But then you have the grassroots like us. We're completely separating from the plantation seekers in the Democratic Party. So there's chaos going on in both parties, right? Both parties. But Candace Owens, she wasn't done.
That I said your husband? What does that mean? Husband? No, I'm not accusing you of husband. What I am assuming that I have been open about on the show is that it reeks of dishonesty. And that people told you this, there's something about your general nature that comes across as very dishonest. You don't seem to be interested in the very many holes. I wouldn't be able to stomach sitting or standing next to Kash Patel, and yet you do. You're sitting here at a White House Correspondents' Dinner. Why don't you ask him to give the defense what they need if you want a speedy trial, victim? Oh, no, I'm just there to, for a social experiment. Well, you're standing next to the FBI director that's holding up your case. I wouldn't be able to stomach looking at Kash Patel, and you can. I'm sorry that we're all noticing these sorts of things and keeping track of the very many lies that you and Turning Point people have told. Biggest of all, which no one wants to address while they're putting on this widow grift, is the lie that you told about the surgeon going rogue, Erika. How about responding to that? The surgeon went rogue. Andrew Colvett went rogue. I wasn't a part of the conversation. You lied about that, Erika. That's a big lie. That's not a small lie. Okay, I'm not coming after you like the internet was in early days for wearing hot pants with JD Vance. I don't care about that. That's not relevant to me, how you style your hair, how you want to do your makeup, how much eyeliner you want to put on. That feels petty to me. But you lying, allegedly, according to donors that were present, about Charlie saying, I want you to take over if I get killed? Yeah, that matters. You lying about the surgeon and beginning the entire story about a Superman neck, but actually you were on the phone, but you lied to my face and you're pretending that I have to take that because you're a widow? No, that doesn't work for us, okay? That does not work for us. In fact, Baron Coleman called this out, the widow grift, and trying to tell us that she's allowed to lie to us because her husband died is so on its face absurd that it should be rejected by all people everywhere. Take a listen to what Baron Coleman had to say on his show.
Nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in any religious tradition does it say, if you're a widow, you get a free pass to lie to anyone you want, to gaslight everybody you meet, for everything you've ever done in your entire life that is dog doo-doo. You just get overlooked. No one's allowed to bring it up. No one's allowed to talk about it. For the rest of your life, everyone has to fawn all over you and support you because, my God, you're a widow. It doesn't exist. I've looked at scripture. It's not in there. Erika, Graham, Gary, not in here. Andrew, Blake, doesn't say it. There's no requirement. I support her as the head of TPUSA. There's no prohibition on me criticizing her for documented falsehoods. None. None. And I'm tired of this gaslight play.
We're all tired of being gaslit all the time. We are so tired of them moving the goalposts and problematizing us, clocking the lies as what is problematic. Like it's problematic that you recognize that she is lying. It's problematic that she keeps lying to your face and you keep noticing it. And she just moves to absurd excuse like, oh, well, there was this private text chain where Candace said, Erika, did I actually, when I arrived, did I say, did you kill your husband? Oh, so it was probably a joke, Erika. It was probably a joke, and you should share the full context. Don't retweet, as she's done, Andrew Colvett. Oh, no, that's the excuse for why I just said that publicly. This private chain that nobody saw.
Now, this whole thing is funny because you got people from the Skittles crew going after Candace Owens' husband, saying that he likes to be plunged, right? and he doesn't love her. Y'all see when I did that one video, and she was supposed to be an undercover lover to Charlie. You got Charlie's wife out there getting boat raced and clapped, the hot blonde by, the industry, right? That part of it. This whole thing is just crazy because, like, in order to move up in the ranks as a woman, you got to put your legs up in the air to move up in the air, right? So them legs got to go up to move up, unfortunately, because they got to have something on you where they can control you. That's the way that they operate. That's the way that they move. And that's the W man system. It's always been that way, right? Then they want to use the Bible as their way of morale and the way that they move it. So you got evil, wicked people. So all they doing more damage. It's just, this whole thing is just a joke, man. And the thing is, Back in the day before social media and stuff like that, when people lived in small towns or you lived in the area you lived in, you can get away with this stuff by putting certain things on the news. But now everybody has access to way more information today than what they had 40, 50, 60 years ago. People are no longer going for this stuff, man. They can see right through it. They can see that all of y'all are wicked. And all of y'all are on the stage here to keep the people mesmerized and to keep the people confused while you run everything, right? While you make billions and trillions of dollars. So everybody's vying for position. What you have here is a fight. And the Democrats are mad because Trump came in and cut off all the NGO money. He cut off billions of dollars of money that the Democrats was pocketing for their own and not doing nothing for the communities of the people. And now all the Republicans did was take that money back, and now they're pocketing the money while not doing nothing for their MAGA group. And that's why you hear the MAGA people so upset, because they don't give a damn about them. They use you as stepping stones or footstools to get to the position they want to get, where they're in control right now. So both parties are always in control to see who's going to F the people over the most, or who's going to screw the people over and make you like it, because they condition you to believe their stories. It's all a political theater. It's all a stage. That's why the Democrats was in control or had the support of the black community for so long. And look at black cities across America after 60 years. It's been a colossal failure, right? And then you see these Republicans, right? You have the elite Republicans, and then you have the poor whites all through Arkansas, all through Indiana, and all these places that vote Republican. They don't have nothing. They live in trailer homes. It's all a scam. So and what's happening now is there's a split, and Candace Owens is on one side. This woman Erika is on another side, man. You know, it's just all a joke, man. Don't get caught up in this stuff, man. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about Erika Kirk, man. Charlie Kirk's widow. Charlie Kirk, who went all out of his way to disrespect our people. His last words before he was hit he was talking about Chicago. Then he got pow, and it was all over. So y'all let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till next time, peace.